Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into one of the most controversial moments in the history of Bangladesh. Was it a leader's calculated power grab dressed up as a gift to the people? Or was it a genuine, desperate demand from a nation on the very brink of collapse? We're talking, of course, about the formation of Baksal.
And this, right here, is the question at the very heart of it all, the one that historians are still grappling with. Was this whole thing cooked up from the top down, a chess move for absolute power, or did it bubble up from the bottom, a cry for help from a country in total chaos?
Okay, so before we go any further, let's get two key terms locked in. First, Baksal, that's the name of the new one-party political system, and second, Bakshis. Now this word means a gift or a favor, but it implies so much more. It suggests a system built not on what you believe, but on who you know. A system where loyalty is everything and it gets rewarded.
So you have to ask yourself, how did things get so bad that a one-party state even seemed like a good idea? Well, to get that, we have to rewind to the early 1970s. Bangladesh was a brand new country, just born from a horrific war, and honestly, it was teetering on the edge of failure. Just look at this timeline. Look how fast everything went south. The absolute joy of winning independence in '71, it just evaporates. Within 3 short years, the country is in a state of emergency. That's the pressure cooker environment that led to this massive, drastic change to the Constitution in January of '75. And you know, this wasn't some abstract problem. The government was literally drowning. You had factions fighting inside the ruling party, corruption was absolutely everywhere, and the economy was in shambles. It was the perfect storm. And it's in a storm like that, when all the old systems are broken, that people start looking for any port, no matter how radical it seems. All right, let's dive into that first major theory. The idea that Baksal wasn't really about saving the nation at all. No, this argument says it was about one leader, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, consolidating his own power. So this lays it out perfectly. You have these two completely different stories. Was it a top-down move for personal gain? That's the Bakshis theory. Or was it a bottom-up response to a national emergency? Let's dig into that first argument, the power play. If you're a critic of Baksal, this structure right here is basically your smoking gun. I mean, think about it. Step 1, force every single person in government to join your one party. Step 2, put one man at the very top of a tightly controlled system. Step 3, send your own hand-picked governors out to run local politics. It's a pretty classic playbook for making sure all power flows to one place.
And what this all adds up to is a system where Sheikh Mujibur Rahman becomes the gatekeeper of everything. Your political career, your influence, it all flowed directly from him. It wasn't about being good at your job anymore. It was about being loyal. That was the only currency that really mattered.
But that's not the whole story, not even close. Because the other side of the argument is that this whole thing wasn't pushed from the top, it was pulled from the bottom, by a population that was just completely and utterly exhausted. This quote just nails the mood of the country at the time. People were just done. They were tired of the war, tired of the infighting, tired of the chaos, and the idea of one strong hand on the wheel, well, it started to sound pretty good, even if it meant giving up some of the democratic freedoms they'd fought for. And look, the promises being made here were huge. This wasn't just some vague political talk. This was a radical plan to shake up the economy for the average person, especially in the countryside. They were talking about getting money and fertilizer directly to farmers, cutting out the corrupt middlemen. They even called it a second revolution. That's how big a deal this was supposed to be. And the scale of this ambition, wow, we're not talking about a few pilot programs here and there. The plan was to set up one of these cooperatives in every single one of Bangladesh's 65,000 villages. That's not a small adjustment. That's an attempt to fundamentally rewire the entire rural economy of the country. So what was it? A top-down power grab? A bottom-up demand from the people? Well, like with most things in history, the truth is messy. It's not a simple either-or. In fact, these two forces were tangled up together. And this is where it all clicks into place. On one side, you have the national demand, a country just wrecked by war, desperate for any kind of order. And on the other side, you have the supply, a powerful, charismatic leader with his own vision for how to fix things, a vision of centralized control. The two just met at a perfect, and maybe dangerous, crossroads. So the bottom line is this. Sheikh Mujib was riding a massive wave of public frustration. The people were screaming for change and progress.
But he wasn't just riding the wave, he was also steering it. He channeled all that national desperation into a solution that just so happened to put him and his party at the absolute center of everything.
Now, Baksal itself was incredibly short-lived. It all came to a violent end with Sheikh Mujib's assassination in August 1975, just months after it started. But its shadow, oh, that shadow is long. It still hangs over Bangladeshi politics to this very day.
Yeah, the ghost of Baksal is still around. You see it in the constant tug of war between having a strong central government and giving power to local regions. You hear its name thrown around in political debates today, and it left behind this permanent question about leadership, about the trade-offs you make between getting things done fast and protecting democratic freedoms. It's a cautionary tale that has never really gone away.
And that leaves us with one final, really tough question. The whole Baksal experiment forces us to ask something that every nation has to face when things get bad. When you're trying to hold a country together, what is the real cost of unity? And what price is just too high to pay for stability? It's a question that, frankly, has no easy answers.